Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors to our apostles, our elders at Great Millstone, who teach and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the elect. And as you can see in the title of this lesson, the Day of Atonement, why does the Lord require a fast? And, the simple answer for that is that because this is ultimately denying our flesh, and this brings us closer to the Lord. This brings us closer to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, because as the Lord said, He said, "Stay in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh." So ultimately, in this ministry, we're supposed to be trying our hardest to stay spiritual, and the Day of Atonement is really for Yahweh Shai, So as the Akim and the apostles have been saying today, is that we are much closer to the Lord on the Day of Atonement, because the Day of Atonement requires a fast. So let's jump into the book of Joel, because the Lord told us to fast in order to return to Him. So this is Joel 2 in verse 12. Therefore also now saith Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, turn ye even to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning. You see, so the way you turn to the Lord, one way is by fasting, and that's what this Day of Atonement is about. Verse 13, and rend your heart and not your garments, and turn unto the Lord your God, for He is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth Him of evil. And I said that in my previous video. Every day the Lord's mercy is renewed. So how much more on the Day of Atonement, to where we have to fully come before the Lord in our spiritual state. So the Day of Atonement is very important, so because we're fully tapped into the Spirit, and we're denying our flesh, as is written in Romans the 12th chapter. Let's get that. Romans 12 in verse 1, because ultimately we would be like a sacrifice. We would have to offer up our bodies as a living sacrifice, right? Romans 12 in verse 1, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. So we're supposed to be doing that. And a great way to offer your body as a living sacrifice is to fast, because you're basically giving up everything to basically tap into the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, right? Verse 2, and be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. So one way we can do that is by fasting. In the Day of Atonement, you fast, you see. So, and another thing is that, since we're confessing our faults to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, this gets rid of certain faults. This gets rid of certain demons in us. And the Lord said that the only way that certain demons can come off of you is by fasting. So this is Matthew 17, and we're going to start at verse Let's start from verse 14. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man kneeling down to him, saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic, and sore vexed. Right, so this guy's son had what? He had demons on him. For oft times he falleth into the fire, and into the water. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. And what did Yahushua say? He said, Then Yahushua answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. Now, the reason why Yahushua said that is because the disciples didn't have the faith. Their faith wasn't built up in that time. Verse 8, and Yahushua rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then came the disciples to Yahushua apart and said, Why could we not cast him out? And Yahushua said unto them, Because of your unbelief. See, so fasting while believing is very important too. You see, because at this point, when you're fasting, especially on the Day of Atonement, we have to ultimately come before Yahweh Shem Yahushai in spirit and in truth. And we have to ask and beg Yahweh Shem Yahushai to get rid of certain impurities and, to add unto our faith. You see, so one thing that the Lord, always didn't like is unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if ye had faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. So this proves to you that prayer and fasting is definitely a key thing in this ministry. So the Day of Atonement, is very, very important because this shows our faith, ultimately. Let's jump into Ecclesiastes, the 7th chapter, because ultimately, this ministry is really all about suffering, right? Ecclesiastes 7 in verse 2, it is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, right? And the Day of Atonement is really, a day of mourning, and lamenting and, confessing our faults to Yahweh Shem Yahushai and asking if he can, forgive us of our sins in this life and in our past lives, So it's a very important day to come before the Lord as spiritual as possible, right? For that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. Verse 3, sorrow is better than laughter, for by sadness of the heart the countenance of the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of the fools is in the house of mirth. You see, so this is why fasting is very key in the ministry, because it puts a certain mindset into you. Let's jump to James chapter 4. James 4 in verse 6. Matter of fact, let's start from verse 4. James 4 and verse 4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is an enemy of the Most High. So one thing that this world tells us to basically do is to fulfill the lust of the flesh. So you denying that by fasting, is basically you separating from this world, man, which the Most High requires. Right? Verse 5, do you think that the scripture saith in vain, the spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy? But he giveth more grace. Wherefore he saith, the Most High resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. And when you fast, you're in a very low, meek, humble estate. You see, so verse 7, submit yourselves therefore to the Most High, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. You see, so one way of submitting yourself to the Lord is by fasting, because that draws you near to the Most High, because you're not fulfilling the lust of the flesh. And that's one way that Satan can get to you. Even Yahushua said that Satan desires to sift you. And that and all of that starts from in your mind. You see, so fasting is a good way to draw nigh to the Most High, man. James 4 in verse 8. Draw nigh to the Most High, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. And the Day of Atonement, basically, that's what it's about. It's about drawing nigh to the Most High. Praying that Yahweh Shemiel Shah will draw nigh to us. And we're cleansing our hands and purifying our hearts. Right? Verse 9. Be afflicted and mourn and weep, which that's what happens when you fast, right? Let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to heaviness, which basically represents the whole day of the Day of Atonement. You're in a meek, humble state. You're not fulfilling the lust of the flesh, right? Verse 10. Humble yourselves in the sight of Yahweh Shemiel Shai, and he shall lift you up. So before honor comes humility. And this day teaches that, because we're basically asking Yahweh Shemiel Shai to cleanse us of our iniquities, to cleanse us of where we fall short, because we're ultimately in a grace period. So the Day of Atonement is a great day, because once you fast, you can draw nigh to Yahweh Shemiel Shai, which that's what he requires, and everyone's not going to do that. Let's get Psalms 139. Psalms 139 in verse 23. Search me, O Yahweh, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. And see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. And that's what we beg Yahweh Shemiel Shai to do, because we ultimately know that we are not, we're not perfect. Isaiah said that our righteousness is as filthy rags. And even Apostle Paul came to the conclusion that he's a wretched man, that he's a filthy man. And you're talking about someone that's as great as Apostle Paul, that basically kept the law better than anyone besides Yahweh Shai. You see, so if all these great men came to the conclusion that they were, if they were up to the standards, then who are we not to do the same thing? You see, and the Day of Atonement makes you, really realize that, and which proves to you that we need mercy, man. Like how I said in my last video, we need the mercies of David. You see, so this is why the Lord requires a fast. That's ultimately like a sacrifice. you know, and it keeps us in the spirit, you know. So, Lord willing, you were edified. In closing, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders at Great Millstone, who teach and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the elect. Shalom.